And now for a taste of things to come.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another Simply Reliable Studios presentation. No watch along today. Today we are going to discuss the top 10 country songs from the 90s. It is I, the Renegade of Wrestling, J.J. Williams, joined by Mr. Reliable, subscribe, Walter. What is going on, Walter?
Howdy, JJ.
Howdy, Walter.
I had to go there. You know I had to. I'm doing well. Just came up spaces which music was a big discussion of it. Surprisingly, it's pretty cool that went. Just the music part alone almost went over an hour, I believe it was.
Yeah, it was like an hour and a half.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to going through this with you because we both agree the 90s was the best time for music in all genres, but especially country.
Yeah, and especially the first half of the decade. Like, I don't think I have anything on my list past 1995. Like,
Oh,
everything is from like 91 to 95. That's when things were hitting hard. You know,
mm,
you had the people on our default graphic here dominating the charts: Faith Hill, Garth Brooks, Shania Twain, Alan Jackson, Reba McEntire, George Strait, and none of them are going to be on my list
mm,
because I wanted to do something different. I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to come up with songs that were hits, that are phenomenal songs, but that just don't get the love that they used to, at least in my opinion. Plus, I wanted
definitely.
to try to come up with a way where we weren't going to have a lot of repeats. And having seen what you have on your list, if I had gone with them, we would have had a lot of repeats.
Mm,
As it is, we still ended up sharing one song.
nice.
We share some artists,
Hmm.
whether it's within our honorable mentions or our main list, but only share one song this way. So we're going to give you 19 officially ranked songs, plus we each have 3 honorable mentions.
Yeah,
So 25 out of 26 songs are going to be different. That's huge. That just shows what the decade had to offer.
definitely. They offer a lot in every genre, but especially, like I said, country. So, without
You,
further
you know
ado,
what?
let's
I'm
get
going
right
to
into it.
really quickly, I'm going to
Uh,
uncheck these so that they
uh,
don't scroll across the bottom. That way we
yeah.
can keep the top 10 things scrolling while our picks are up.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
number 10s are already done. I'll keep going through. So if you want to go ahead and start yours, feel free.
All right, sure. I'll start with my number 10, which gonna try to remain calm and not get emotional because of the subject of this song. Like I was real close to my dad, and this reminds me. He wasn't in the country or anything, but this reminds me of fishing with him and just hanging out with him because it's not. If you hear the beginning of the song, you would think he's gonna pretty much get in trouble. It pretty much was about a father's love for his son and the relationship between a father and son. So my number 10 is "Love Without an End, Amen" by George Strait, which came out in 1990. Like right off the rip, little boy gets in trouble at school for a little scuffle, a little fight, comes home thinking he's gonna get in trouble, and pretty much gets life lessons from daddy. And it's like the relationship between father and son, and the love, and it's got good melody and good lesson in it. It's emotional. It's what country's about. You know what I mean? So that's why it's my number 10. Matter of fact, it should rank higher now that I think about it. But
Yeah, this song, stuff like this is why I tried to go away from like the George Straits and the Garth Brookses because, dude, if I had used those guys, like this song easily would have been like my number one or my number two because I love this song to pieces. And a lot of the same stuff that you said holds true to me. I
Mhm.
am very close to my father. He is not a country music fan, but even this song like hits him in the feels for those same reasons. Like it's about that unconditional love that a parent has with their kid, and especially a father-son relationship. And father-son relationships are going to come back up on the list later on, especially where it comes to me. But dude, this song, like you said, it starts off, he gets in trouble,
Mhm.
comes home, has a black eye. Very easily, dad could have started yelling at him, but he doesn't. Gives him those words of wisdom. And you go through the whole point of the song, and, the second verse, he gives those words of wisdom to his own son. And then he dies in the last verse, and he's up in heaven. And from the other side, he hears his son pass those words on to his kid. So it's
Mhm.
just like the cycle and the way everything goes through life. Such a great song. Awesome way to start things off, Walter. Yeah, surprised it's not higher,
Mhm.
especially knowing that you are a father to sons.
Three.
But yes,
And it's funny when you said words of wisdom. I always wanted to go, "Let it be," but I
right?
I stood back. I stood back.
That
I
would have
held
been
it.
more my dad because he's a Beatles guy. So solid way to kick things off. My number 10 is from an artist who, man, when he came out of the gate with his first single, everybody took notice, especially the women. So much so that it's almost become memeable. It's become something that's been trash talked over the years. It's even been parodied by the great Weird Al Yankovic. But then you get to his second album, and he had already started to fall off. The hype and everything had started to dissipate. But his first single from his second album was Killer. And I'm going with In the Heart of a Woman by Billy Ray Cyrus from 1993.
Okay.
Everybody thinks of Billy Ray Cyrus and they automatically go to Achy Breaky Heart, Achy
Of
Breaky
course.
Heart. For
Mhm.
good reason. I mean, a line dance was created for the song.
Mhm.
But again, once the sizzle had kind of tamed off the steak there, he had some really solid stuff going forward that people just weren't paying attention to. And In the Heart of a Woman, I feel, is one of those songs, essentially it's your typical country music song. It's about a breakup.
Mhm.
The proverbial joke. What do you get if you play a country song backwards? You get your wife back, your car back, your house back, your dog back. You know, it's a country breakup song. And the woman is teaching a guy through the song and through the chorus where he fucked up. And the
Exactly.
things that you have to do with your next relationship to make sure that you don't lose her the way that you lost me. Underrated as hell. And I think if people give it a listen, they might get some of that achy breaky stank off of them because it's great song, great message.
That's a lot of stank though to get off.
Hey, I mean, they try to lump him into the one hit wonder category, and I'm like, what about this, this, this? It's like, he's not a one hit wonder.
Mm-mm.
Did he have a song go as crazy as many records sold as that one? No, of course not. That doesn't mean he's a one hit wonder, though. And this song, I feel, proves that.
Mhm. It does. Sorry, I was writing something so people write in the comments. Um,
I see that. Yes.
yeah, yeah. I guess if you
From the
can't,
90s. Keep it
yeah,
topical. Keep it with what we're going off of, though.
yeah, exactly. Keep it relevant. Um, and I just, uh, you said it when we were going back. I didn't realize I did that until you had pointed it out that I used the same artist twice in a row. But, who cares? I did the list like weeks ahead and didn't want to keep thinking about because I changed my mind like 6 7 times. That's how great this decade is, to be honest. I literally had to go back and change it like 6 7 times because then I was like, oh shoot, I forgot this song and then I forgot this song and then I'm like, darn it, like if I keep doing that I'm never gonna finish this list. You know what I mean? But you talked about the typical breakup song. Here's one pretty much woman living out your life, and you were pretty much writing a love letter to it. So this is number 9. Write This Down by George Strait, which came out in '99. So I do have post '95 stuff.
You do. I don't.
Yeah.
George Strait, man, is one of those guys who just doesn't miss. And especially in the 90s, like, I don't think I can find a song from the 90s that is a clunker for George Strait. Everything fucking hit. Um, Write This Down is a solid song, like you said there.
Mhm.
Um, Breakup song. Good shit here. Good shit.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes, he's mellow. He didn't miss in the 90s. Damn it, your wife had to make it fucking wrestling.
Right? That's funny though that she did
All right. So moving into my number 9, and I'm a little bit surprised that I don't have more women on my list, but the 90s were very much a male dominated decade. And especially considering I was already eliminating Faith, Reba, and Shania from my list. Those were your heavy hitters in the 90s. And I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna fuck with them. Give people some other shit. So it kind of eliminated some of the heavy hitters, but this is a female song,
that. Okay.
and her voice right out the gate is just so beautiful. I've always kind of compared her to like a country version of Sarah McLachlan. Like, I always wanted them to do a duet together, and they never did. But my number 9 is by Kathy Mattea, and it's called Standing Knee Deep in a River and Dying of Thirst.
Oh yeah,
It's like
the irony.
so right there, let's just address the irony, the fact that you are knee deep in a river and managing to die of thirst. Like, just scoop your hands, get some water, and drink it. Like, seriously. But the song, it basically talks about, all the people we encounter in life. Not necessarily just relationships, but friends, co-workers, and how essentially we end up drifting apart from them, and how the people in our lives just kind of go by like water.
Hmm.
When we end up going through life, she says parched and empty, because there's no real substance in a lot of these people we encounter. You find very few real friends over the course of your life.
Yeah.
So, we go through life parched and empty, standing knee deep in a river and dying of thirst. And it's like, it's it's just a crazy way to think about the people you encounter day to day, just passing you by on the street, and you don't know who's who, what their story is. You may talk to somebody as you pass by, but it's all just so free flowing like a river.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. That's the irony is, right? Bend down to drink the water. What are you doing? But I get the metaphor in there. And look at JJ getting all deep. That was some deep stuff.
Hey, hey, there is more to country music than fucking losing your woman, losing your dog, losing your house, and losing your truck. I'm just saying.
Right. You can say you went knee deep, huh?
But
I'm sorry. I'm standing. I'm still on the punch stuff from Evolve. Like, but yeah. Actually, you know what? Let's go with you for number 8 first, so we can put back. I kind of missed that opportunity because I went first and then I went second too, instead of letting
oh,
you
it's
go first.
okay. I
Yeah.
feel like it's a good way to keep it because we just alternate who's talking instead of
Okay.
someone going back to back. So,
All right. No problem. So it's funny. Funny that you just mentioned females, and so my number 8 is also a female song that. I mean, this was a huge hit. Like maybe it was Memphis by Pam Tillis in 1991. Um, if you were old enough then, of course I wasn't because I was only 7 or 8. To walk into a bar, you couldn't get away from this song. This song was at Kmart, Caldors, all over the place. Damn, I'm aging myself like a mofo naming these stores.
well, said Kmart.
But they would have those stations on while you're walking away. You could not escape this freaking song. Like, I couldn't imagine if you actually lived in Tennessee and what this song did on the radio. So we're gonna have to Stat Boy if well, he lives there now. He wasn't there when the song was out.
Yeah, I
But
was gonna say you got to
yeah,
figure he was out here in California when that song came out. He's only a
yeah,
new transplant to Tennessee.
yeah. But yeah, everywhere you turn around, it's just a fun, cute song by her. But yeah, I had to give the female some love too.
Okay, solid one. I want to say this was the first exposure I had to Pam Tillis, of course, the daughter of Mel Tillis, who's a legend in his own right. Um, Not my favorite of hers, but I do agree that it was like everywhere when it came out.
Mhm.
You know, let's see, 1991. So I would have been 15, 14 or 15, depending on the month. And yeah, it was everywhere, even out here in California. Like, the radio stations loved that song.
Mm.
My number 8 goes back to the men, and it's a fun song at the end of the day. You know, good driving guitars, steady kick in the drum, the story of the song starts out a little bit negative because basically this family is on the verge of losing their land, their farm. And a member of the family comes up with the idea to turn their ranch into basically a huge bar. So
Mhm.
they use what little bit of money they have left to go get some kegs, get some booze. The kids form a band. The sister works the bar, serving the drinks and everything. Mom ends up cooking all the food, and dad just kind of kicks back with his cigar and rakes all the cash in. And it's Chris Ledoux's Cadillac Ranch
Oh,
from
okay.
1992. From the moment that I heard the song, it stuck with me, and it stayed with me through life to the point that when I went, God, this was almost 15 years ago now, 16 years ago now. But when
Wow.
I went and I made a fan edit video of what I would do if I were to resurrect the Country Bear Jamboree from Disneyland,
Mhm.
this song was a part of the set because I could see it being performed as a modern, version of that attraction. There's
Mhm.
also a song coming up a little bit later. I believe it's on your list that was a part of that as well. And I'll circle back around to it when we get there. But Chris Ledoux is one of those guys who, unfortunately, he passed away in the late 90s, early
Mhm.
2000s. But he was a legitimate cowboy. Like he rode the rodeos
Yeah.
and
Wasn't it
made
the?
his own tapes and sold them on the side, for those times when like he didn't do too well. He
Yeah.
could
Wasn't
still
the
sling
album
his
called
tapes.
"What You Gonna Do with a Cowboy" or something?
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
With Garth Brooks. I
Yeah.
believe that's the album this is on.
Yeah.
But, Chris Ledoux was no joke. And he had a bunch of songs that I contemplated. An unofficial honorable mention is his song $5 Fine, which I contemplated, but I felt like it was too slow. That I have enough slow songs on my list as it is. I didn't want to add another one in there.
Mhm.
But that one's great because he's basically speaking as the owner of a bar. And it's like, if you're going to come in here with your whining and your bitching and shit, it's a $5 fine. We don't want to hear it. If it ain't on your mind to have a good time, then come back and see us some other time. But we're here to have fun, so stop your whining, your crying, and your bitching. And if you're going to do that, you got to pay a $5 fine right out the gate. But Cadillac Ranch, man, solid, solid Chris Ledoux song. Highly recommended for people that love to go line dancing. It's a good dance song.
Um, we didn't do this on purpose at all. I promise you guys we didn't know each other's picks until like a few moments before we came out on live because he had to put his banners in there. So we got a sneak peek, but we really didn't do this. But he just went from a song that talked about having their own bar, and my number seven song is kind of what I want to do right now. Go downstairs, to be honest, to the bar of this hotel and get a straight shot of tequila. Like, but it's Straight Tequila Night by John Anderson, which is a fun little song where a woman's in the bar and, he's just singing to her about it and her taking straight shots of drinks. But, it's kind of one of them puppy love sad songs in country too. But it's just funny that your song was about a bar and my next was a straight shot of tequila. Like we couldn't have did that any better if we actually tried. Like, I,
I'll say more on it in a little bit because that is the one song that we share.
oh okay. I just thought it was the timing of it funny that you put your number eight about a bar and then my number seven is a straight tequila night.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. When I saw you had this, I almost thought about restructuring my list just so we could both talk about it at the same time. But I have this much higher, so I'll come back to it and discuss it when we get there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine.
So, spoiler alert, everyone. Now you know the song that we share. Just have
Yeah,
to wait for it to come back around.
like it was still on the radio. It would come around every like hour and play it. Trust me.
Oh, yeah. So, my number 7 is another dance song, kind of piggybacking off of my number 8. It's about a festival that happened in Georgia, at least within the context of the song. I don't know if this festival really exists. Never been to Georgia to figure it out and find out for myself. But as far as the context of the song goes, it's about a festival in Georgia that this guy just happens to stumble upon. And all the booze and the food and everything is made from watermelons.
Mhm.
It's called Watermelon Crawl by Tracy Bird from 1994. Like he describes the pageant winner as the watermelon queen, and she teaches him how to do this dance that they call the watermelon crawl. But again, it's just another fun 90s upbeat party dance song. Little bit nonsensical in the lyrics. You know, you need that every now and again. It doesn't get too deep. You know, not like standing knee deep in a river did, but it's a fun little song there.
Okay. I actually this is the one song going through your list that I actually don't know. That one I really don't know it. So I'm
You
glad
might
you're able
know it
to
if
tell
you
me about
hear
it.
it. It might be one of those
Uh
songs.
oh, okay, all right. It probably is. But
Because it
one
was
song.
everywhere when it came out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's probably one of the ones I need to hear. But yeah, moving on to number 6. Now this song, "Don't Take the Girl" by Tim McGraw. This is truly country because basically it's following a young couple around and how they fell in love. But you kind of reverse the gender roles in a way. Like if you really listen to the song, and then there's like a play on the words, the way he does it throughout the 3 verses, like it kind of flip flops, which is something cool and different about a song because it's not the normal. Like it's hard to explain. You guys just gotta go out and listen to it. It's not normal gender roles. It like literally flip flops, and it's a play on words. The way he says "Don't take the girl" each time he does it when he gets into the chorus. So like this is one of those songs that, but it's one of those slow. Like I said, I'm a big teddy bear lover guy, so of course I'm gonna have the slow songs on here. But that good song, I highly recommend this song. And of course, it's freaking Tim McGraw. You can't go wrong listening to a Tim McGraw song.
Yeah. I have issues with this song.
Uh-huh.
Nothing negative. I
Uh,
just try not to dwell on it too much because if I dwell on it too much, it will get me in my feelings. I will start
uh,
crying.
yeah.
It's just one of those songs. But to your point, I do love the way the phrase "don't take the girl" changes throughout the song because
Mhm.
to your point, it starts off with this little boy and this little girl, and it's during that phase in boy's life where ew, girls have cooties, I don't want to be around her. It's like,
Yep.
daddy, don't take the girl.
Mhm.
But then as the song develops and they catch feelings for each other, they it's like, yo, don't hurt this girl, she's special to
Mhm.
me, for the second verse. And then come the third verse, and I'm just going to stop there.
Yep.
Whole other meaning come the third verse,
Yep.
but then the cycle repeats itself,
Mhm.
and now the dad is taking his own kid fishing,
Mhm.
and the cycle is going to start itself over again as the song
Mhm.
kind of tapers off and ends.
Mhm.
I went and I saw Tim and Faith live in concert.
Oh
He
wow.
didn't do this song, and I was fucking pissed. She played her hits
Mhm.
and dipped into some of her new stuff. Tim played his new stuff and only played a few of like his hits. So I was really kind of pissed about that because I wanted to hear this. I wanted to have one of those cathartic moments where I could just flush the emotion out of my system, and the fucker didn't sing the song.
Oh wow.
But I do love the song. I just
Mhm.
can only do it in small doses for reasons.
I sometimes I stop it before the third verse just because I know I'm good. It's gonna hit me. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. I'm usually a wreck by the second verse because of the mugging attempt
Yeah.
and how things could have ended right there. But it didn't. And then the way things end in the third verse.
Yeah. Exactly.
So
No, but
moving
that's a good
on
song.
so I don't get too much more emotional than I already am. Um, my number 6 is from a guy, and goddamn, I could have picked any of the hits off of his first 3 albums. What's up, Big G? Could have picked any of his hits off his first 3 albums and had a solid argument for them as top 5 material.
Hmm.
But then you see the people and the songs I've got in the top 5, and you understand why this one just scratched the surface of breaking the top 5. But it's honestly my favorite song by this artist. And I have got to hear him do it live twice. Once I saw him open for Reba McEntire, and then the second time it was his own show at the Cerritos Performing Arts Center, and me and my daughter's mom hung out by his tour bus while he was doing his official meet and greet post show, and then got a picture with him after the show. I know
Okay.
he's coming up later as one of your honorable mentions, not for this song, but my number 6 is Life's a Dance by John Michael Montgomery from 1992.
Okay. I know this one.
It was his debut single. It is by and large my favorite song of his. And I just love the whole story that it tells, you know. The chorus says it greatly. Life is a dance that you learn as you go. Sometimes you lead, sometimes you follow. Don't worry about what you don't know, because life's a dance you learn as you go.
Hmm.
It's a great message, and it starts off talking about how he's fallen for a girl in his class, didn't have the courage to ask her out, so you never know how it's going to go. You know, sink or swim, you've got to go for it, shoot your shot. Wayne Gretzky's famous for saying you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yep.
So shoot your shot. Maybe you'll hit, maybe you'll miss, but at least you tried.
Most definitely. And that applies to so much more than sports. What Wayne said, and I use that a lot. Oh well, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, so you do it. For example, for our channel, reaching out to certain people trying to get interviews and things, and most people will be like, "Man, that person's too big. This person's too big. Yeah, don't do that because you're never gonna get them." Like, no, damn that. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and
Yep.
definitely, G. That,
That
that's
was
what I'm
the
gonna say.
entire point. That was the entire point.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I came up to JJ and was like, well, I thought of this. And then he was like, well, shit, since we're doing karaoke, let's do it this day. And I was like, yeah,
Hmm.
makes sense.
Yep. He came up with the idea of doing this countdown for this month, and I was like, well, shit, why don't we do it the week going into karaoke? That way we can use it for the shameless plugs.
Yeah, exactly. Mick Foley would be proud of the shameless plugs. But
Yep.
number, I'm laughing because of the kind of context of this song when I bring this up because
Yeah, yeah. No, let me preface your number 5 by saying I'm surprised it's this low, bro. Like when people think of country songs from the 90's, this is undoubtedly one of the first ones they name.
definitely.
So the
And
fact that it's
uh,
only number 5 kind of has me chuckling, but go ahead, man.
yeah,
It's your song.
yeah. I'm chuckling because of what happens in the song. Like, Literally, for those that don't know, this guy shows up at an ex-girlfriend's wedding, steals the glass from the fiance, the husband, whatever you want to call it, makes the most highly inappropriate toast you can think of, and it just walks out to do what? To go hang out with friends in low places. Like number five is Friends in Low Places by Garth Brooks in 1990. Like that literally, I didn't make that up. That's literally what happening in the song for those that don't know country music. That's literally sometimes that's a dream of petty people to do something like that. Like, so the fact that this guy goes to do it in the preface of the song, I don't know if this is something that happened in his life or someone he knows, and that's what made the influence of the song. But to actually have the guts to do that would be hilarious. And the reason I started laughing because I could picture somebody actually doing that, like crashing somebody's wedding and doing that. But
Yeah, it's a great song. And then the mysterious third verse that you only get when he does it live, where he tells her that she can kiss his ass.
yeah,
Fantastic way to cap things off. Hold on a second, I got to mute.
okay,
Sorry, people being kind of loud.
okay,
But but yeah, the way he tells her at the end that she can kiss his ass and everything,
hmm,
putting that little exclamation point on their old relationship. I love it. It's one of Garth's best songs all the way around, musically, melodically, lyrically, and just going to the concerts and hearing him do the extra stuff live is just chef's kiss.
I can. I can just see this like in a movie or something too. Like the song cracks me up like every time. Like, cause deep down everybody wants to be that petty towards their ex. We just some of us more mature than others. Some of us don't have the opportunity. But like to take it to the lengths he took it in this song, chef's kiss, like you just said.
Definitely. All right, so my number five, I'm going to slow it a little bit down again. Take you to another traditional country breakup song, or is it? Dot 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 question mark. Because if you really listen to the song, there's so many times when it could end, but it
Hmm.
doesn't, which is why it was almost goodbye. 1993 by Mark Chestnut. And again, like you listen to the way the song begins, and he comes home and gets into it with his woman, and he talks about how it all could have ended with just one word, but she didn't say it and he didn't say it, despite the fact that they both tried to say it. Should have been easy to say we were through, but to walk away was more than we could do.
Hmm.
And then you go to the second verse, and it's like after a night of makeup festivities,
Hmm.
everything just seems to be that much better. The sun is brighter, the birds are chirping, it's like a perfect morning. And still can't believe when they think back about it, like how everything was that close to ending.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it, and I like that song too. Like I said, so far the watermelon was the only song that I really don't know, and like you said, I probably hear it and can know it, but uh,
I'm gonna be curious because Noah mentioned how much he loves 90s country,
yeah,
and he was curious to see if I was gonna bring up any songs that he wasn't familiar with. So I'm gonna be curious when we see him on karaoke or for our watch along tomorrow if
hmm,
he's seen it and what he may have thought about it. I even sent the link to this to my mom.
Oh,
because
really?
she's the one that got me into country music.
Mm.
So I'd be curious to see what she thinks of the list, and especially the fact that I didn't go with any of the big artists.
Hmm. Well, speaking of big artists,
See, I set you up for that on purpose, bro.
I know how to catch
I'm
them
trying to
alley
I'm
oops.
trying to work with you. I'm trying to work with you here.
Speaking of that, but of course, this if you know what this song is really about, this is a big middle finger. I forget her then husband's name. I know he was her producer, but I forget his name. But
Robert John Mutt Lang.
there it is. Yeah, because pretty much people criticize them for being together if they were like totally different. And this song is pretty much an fu to everybody. Like that's kind of why she wrote this song. It pretty much is what it is. Like even though it's a ballad and it pretty much was a screw you to everybody who criticized her.
Yeah.
If you really think about it.
Yeah. It
But
was
this
a
is
love
another.
song to him and a fuck you to everybody else.
Exactly. And if you don't know, I mean, this isn't one of those other songs, especially the rest of my list. It's one of those songs that no matter where you went, even if you tried, you couldn't escape it. I'm surprised I didn't put the year in here. I must skip it, but "You're Still the One I Want" by Shania Twain. I swear I put all the years in mine, but that's neither here nor there. But that's one of the biggest her biggest hits. I believe it was '97. I want to say, but
No, I think it's earlier than that. I'm looking it up real quick for you.
okay.
Keep talking while I look.
Okay. Yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much
Oh,
like you said.
you
What?
were pretty spelled on. It was 98.
Oh, okay.
I
I
thought it
knew it
was
was one of
earlier
the
than that, but you're pretty spot on there.
uh, uh, um yeah, but like you said, it was a love ballad to him and a fuck you to everybody else because she was really really criticized at that point for being married to him, and in the end the critics kind of were right because they ended up divorcing, but neither
Yeah.
here nor there.
But I mean, in the moment, everybody grows and,
Yeah.
grows apart. So, but yeah, it's a fantastic song. It's not my favorite Shania. The reason I thought it was earlier is because I thought it was off the album that came out before this one. Because she had two albums before this one, so that's where I got confused. But people only really remember the album before this. Very few people remember her debut album because she didn't hook up with Mutt Lang at that point. It was after that album that she hooked up with him and really kind of blew up. And you want to talk about polar opposites? You're talking about the dude that was producing hits for Def Leppard
Yeah, exactly.
coming over to do country music and work with her. It's like, first of all, diversity.
Hmm.
And second of all, who cares? Good music is good music.
Exactly.
I I contemplated very hardly about Shania because, like I said, people don't remember her first album, and that was my first exposure to her. Was the couple of singles she had off it
Hmm.
before she blew up with like Any Man of Mine.
Oh, okay.
So I thought about using one of those, but I wanted to stick to my guns and not use any of the people on the graphic. So I didn't go there.
Yeah. What was her Woman in Me, wasn't it?
No,
I think.
that was her second album. That's the one
Oh,
everybody forgets about. Her first
oh,
album
okay.
was just called Shania Twain.
Oh, okay.
It
Self-titled.
had her on the cover. It was like a blue cover. She was wearing like a snow outfit, and she's walking with like a white husky or a white wolf. And it had two songs on it that were big singles. It was like a 10-song album, like normal, but her
Hmm.
debut single was a song called What Made You Say That? And it was followed up by a song called Dance with the One Who Brought You. Nobody really knows or remembers those songs except for the people who, like me, kind of discovered her with those songs. Everyone remembers the Woman in Me album with that song, Whose Bed Have Your Boots Been Under, Any Man of Mine. And it's like there were so many hits off that album. That's what really kind of catapulted her up into the stratosphere. But that first album, people don't remember. And even she's kind of disowned that first album. She almost never performs songs from it. Those songs don't show up on her greatest hits compilations. And I think it's a damn shame because those two songs are fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, I almost dipped into those just because, but I decided to stick to my
Because
guns.
it was lesser known by a big artist. I
Hmm.
get it. Yeah.
My number 4, we're going to kick things up again. We're going to go back to some more driving guitars and a really good story about how everything that somebody does has an effect on somebody else and what they do. And you really have to pay attention to the song to follow it. It's the type of song you cannot come into it in the middle because you're like, what the fuck's going on here? You really have to listen to it from beginning to end.
Mm.
And it's Third Rock from the Sun by Joe Diffie.
Okay.
And basically, the song talks about how this girl walks into a bar and a guy sees her and he's interested right off the jump. So the guy calls his wife, tells her that he's going to work late. The wife calls her sister so that her sister can come over and console her. Well, that leaves her boyfriend alone. So the boyfriend goes to the liquor store to get a beer.
Mm-hmm.
Guy figures I'm just going to run in, run out real quick, so I'm going to leave the engine running. Kids steal the car and go joyriding. The kids that are joyriding crash into the big boy in a parking lot. You know, Bob's Big Boy, the big old mascot that's out front.
Mm-hmm.
They crash into one of those. The thing goes flying, and a lady who works at a restaurant sees it, calls the police, swears it was an alien. The police can't find the police chief, so they call the mayor. And the mayor tells the police officers, you know, if you can't get a hold of the chief, he's probably hiding from his wife down at the bar. He was the guy that saw the girl walk in the bar at the beginning of the song.
Mm-hmm.
So all the pieces of the puzzle fall into place when you get from the beginning to the end, and you see how all these different things affect the story.
Mm-hmm.
Great
Sounds like
storytelling, great music. I love it.
some Final Destination stuff. Just one reaction after everything interconnects.
Hmm.
But yeah, my number 3. I don't know what the hell happened to my eye, but it just made like a weird burn feeling. And I didn't have my contacts in, so that's weird. Uh, Going back to the big hits, the love ballad. My introduction. I think it was actually her first single,
No, it
but
wasn't her first single.
it wasn't. I know
No.
she was young though. She was young as hell when this came
Yeah.
out. But
No,
yeah.
no. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, she was too young.
Mm-hmm.
This was originally, the song was a big single for a movie, and she was originally supposed to do the version for that soundtrack, but the producers felt she was too young, so they gave the song to Trisha Yearwood,
Mm-hmm.
who has the official song for the movie. So the artist that Walter's about to talk about released her own version on a single and really kind of helped her blow up. But she was supposed to do the song for the movie and got told you're too young to do it, to be talking about all that.
And she was, because this is
Yeah, she was like 16, 17 years
yeah,
old.
yeah, talking about not being able to live without somebody and what can they do. So, like, it's How Do I Live by Leanne Rhymes, and it's, you want to talk about big hits. This is another one that you couldn't escape. The country radios, you could, and this really, really made who Leanne Rhymes is today. Like,
Hmm.
I gotta figure she probably tired of performing. Like they do it because it's their bigger hit, but the longer your career is, you get kind of get tired of doing some certain songs. I know she's like, damn it, but I wonder if she ever like forgets the lyrics or something because she's done it so much. You would think automatically, and you won't think about it. So that because even Boyz II Men admitted that sometimes they go and it just because they've been doing it so long, but I don't know. This is like one of her biggest hits. I mean, she's had a career that spans. I mean, look at her now. She's even just won the either this year or early this no late last year. She was on The Voice Australia, and of course had the winning artist. So Leanne Rhymes is everywhere. She did The Masked Singer, won that show. Like this woman obviously can sing and like started in country. She kind of transitioned to pop really. But and to be honest, it's country technically, but it is popish. Like it's one of
Yeah,
those that can
it's a
cross the
crossover.
line songs. Yeah, yeah. But I mean, one of the biggest hits in '97. I mean, her and Celine Dion's because of Titanic had to be the two biggest hits of '97. Like seriously, like I should have looked up the chart to be honest, because this is probably right neck and neck with each other. Because when the Titanic came out, Celine Dion's song was just blown up everywhere, and so was this. And like you said, it's originally for a movie, but she was just too young for it.
Well, the producers felt she was too young for it. Apparently, her label didn't because her label let her
It-
put the single out.
exactly.
But yeah, it was the song from Con Air. I didn't want to say the movie because I didn't want to give the song away.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the theme to Con Air. And you're right. You couldn't escape it because there were two versions on the same fucking kind of radio. Like, it would be different. We've got an honorable mention we'll get to that
Hmm.
had two different genres do the song. So you have two different types of radio stations playing it. That would have been different. But Trisha Yearwood and Leanne Rhymes are both country artists. So you've got
Hmm.
two different artists with the same song at the same time fighting for airplay on the same genre radio station. That that is nuts to me. And that's part of why you just couldn't escape it because you'd hear Leanne's version and then like 3 songs later you'd hear Trisha's version of the same song. You're like, yeah, goddamn, didn't I just hear this shit? Oh wait, it's a different person singing it. Never mind. Then at the
It's
top
kind
of
of
the hour, they'd run it back and do Leanne's version again. Then 4 or 5 songs later, you'd hear Trisha's again. It's like, goddamn.
little oversaturation there.
Yeah. Again, it would be different if it was two different genres. So you're hearing it on two different types of radio stations. But it wasn't like that then. And without this song, you definitely don't get Leanne Rhymes doing the songs for Coyote Ugly,
Nope.
like Can't Fight the Moonlight,
Mm-mm.
which is probably the other one that's about as big as this for her. I still hear Can't Fight the Moonlight at work on our radio rotation.
Hmm.
But good choice. Another one I definitely was contemplating. I do love this version. I actually prefer Leanne's to Trisha's. I love Trisha Yearwood and her singing and her voice and her version. And I almost had Trisha on my list also with a completely different song. But I
Okay.
figure kind of like, she's Garth's wife, so it's an extension of not having Garth, not having Trisha. So my number 3 though, it's the repeat. It was your number 7. It's Straight Tequila Night, John
Mm.
Anderson.
Nice.
But yeah, a lot of what you said about it, I like, are part of the reasons why I like it, again. And I feel like we've gone deep enough I can kind of regurgitate some of it. But to what you said earlier, it's not really, I wouldn't say it's a breakup song. It's more of a getting over a breakup song, if that makes sense, because it's
Yeah.
all about this girl who goes to a bar regularly, so regularly that the bartender can tell the guy that's interested what her favorite song is on the jukebox, and tells him,
Mhm.
like, if you play it, you might have a chance. And her mood when she's in the club, the bar, depends on what she's drinking.
Yep.
The bartender, the narrator tells the guy, tonight, she's only sipping white wine. She's friendly and fun loving most of the time. But don't ask her on a straight tequila night, because
Mhm.
those are the nights where she's, in her own headspace about the breakup, the
Yep.
ex, the other guy that didn't work out, and she's just ready to fuck with anybody that steps to her. You know,
Yep.
he says she blames her broken heart on any man in sight on a straight tequila night.
Yep.
It's like, so just
Back
use
up.
your eyes, look at what she's doing. Does she have tequila? No. Okay, you got a shot here. Put her favorite
Mhm.
song on the jukebox. Step to her, ask her if she wants to dance. Shoot your shot. Going back to the you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. Life's a dance. Shoot your
Mhm.
shot,
Yep.
but don't even think about it when she's drinking tequila.
Yep. Yeah. Definitely. But okay, my number two. The only excuse I would give you if you don't get your ass up and start dancing when you hear this song is if you have some kind of disability. Like literally, like if you don't get up and want to do a hold down, then something's going on, because this is fun country. Like this is what country's all about: having fun, dancing, doing your thing. But like doing a hold down, like I can see you in a bar doing hold downs. Like literally the only excuse I would give you is if you have some disability, then I understand. But like the moment the first note hits, you should be standing up ready to do a hold down. But it's Boot Scootin' Boogie by Brooks and Dunn, which are one of the best country artists as a group ever. Like literally you could have did the top 10 list by them alone. Like
It's another
so
reason why I left them off my list. Or
yeah.
another, like, if you go back to our default image for this, I
Yeah.
almost put them in the middle of Shania and Alan Jackson, because you want to talk about 90s country, man. These guys dominated.
Yeah. I mean, but this is just a straight hold down song, like literally. Like you got to get your ass up and start to move. Like I almost want to do it just thinking of the song is in my head, and I'm just thinking about starting to dance. So, like this is what country's all about. This kind of music right here, or
Yeah.
this kind of song, I should say.
Yeah, no doubt. When I talked about the Chris Ledoux song, I mentioned the Country Bear Jamboree and my
Hmm.
fan edit. This was the finale of that fan edit
Oh,
that
okay.
I made, because I don't know if you've ever seen the Country Bear Jamboree, but at the end of the show, all the bears that they have the animatronics for come on stage one by one. The curtains are pulled back to reveal them, and they each do a part of the song. This was that for my version,
Oh, okay.
because I figured it was a great way to kind of end it on an upbeat, like you said, dance, fun, get out of your
Hmm.
seats. Let's just have a blast here. I thought it would be a great, like an encore song, a finale for my edit there. But yeah, Boot Scootin' to the point where when I would play that video for my daughter, she now hates that song because of how catchy it is. Like, it's a sarcastic hate, but you know how
Hmm.
teenagers are. You're a
Yeah,
father,
yeah,
you
yeah,
get it.
yeah. Definitely.
But yeah, Boot Scootin' Boogie is a damn good song. It's not my favorite from Brooks and Dunn,
Oh no.
just because it was everywhere.
Hmm.
My favorite does come from the same album, but it's not this one. But very, very solid choice here for a number two pick.
Hmm.
My number two gets a little bit serious again. It kind of goes back to your number 10, and the
Mm-hmm.
whole relationship between a father and a son. My number 2 is The Walk by Sawyer Brown from 1991. And the single was off of one album of theirs. It was the last single off of an album. And then when they released their follow up album, this was on that as well. So that was kind of how I discovered it because I didn't hear any of the songs from the album Buick, which is where this originally came from. I got into Sawyer Brown with the next album, which was called The Dirt Road. And they,
Mm-hmm.
thankfully, because it was the last single, included it on this one to kind of carry people over to the new album. So that's how I was exposed to it. But man, again, kind of like Love Without End, Amen.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's a father walking a son to the school bus to go to the first day of school, and the
Mm-hmm.
father telling the son, I've done this walk before. I've been in your shoes. Everything's gonna be okay. And the second verse, the son's going off to college and going off into the world on his own. And the dad's telling him, again, I've took this walk. I've been in your shoes. Things are going to work out. They're going to be fine. Don't trip. And
Mm-hmm.
you get to the third verse, and now the son is walking the dad to the nursing home because he's getting
Mm-hmm.
up in there in years and needs to be taken care of. And the dad again reassures the son, like, hey, I've been there. I had to do this with my old man. I've been in your shoes. It's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. Just great story and the way the threads tie throughout the song. Again, if I had had Love Without End, Amen, number one, number two, depending on which day it is for me. You know what I mean? As far as
Mm-hmm.
songs from the 90s, they're like neck and neck there. And they're
Yeah.
essentially the same type of song.
Yeah. It really
So
gets
that's
on your
why I wanted
feels.
to give these guys the love over George Strait because Sawyer Brown are still out there, man. They're still kicking. They're still touring. I don't think they're really putting out new albums. Maybe they are, but they're
Mm.
still out there on the road, all original members,
Mm-hmm.
touring still. They were on Star Search back in the 80s, and that's how they got discovered. So they've been milling around for 40 something years putting out music.
Mm-hmm.
And they're probably the one act from the 90s that I wish I could see live
Uh.
that I haven't seen yet. I've seen Alan Jackson, I've seen John Anderson, I've seen Garth, I've seen Trisha, I've seen Reba. I've never seen them, and I really would love to see them live once while they're still out there kicking ass doing all their hits.
Mm-hmm.
Tying it to wrestling, go watch the April 1998 Unforgiven show. Jeff Jarrett is on stage with them singing one of their songs at the event.
Oh, okay.
Some Girls Do is the name of the song. I ain't first class, but I ain't white trash. I'm wild and a little crazy too. Some girls don't like boys like me, but some girls do.
Mm.
Jeff Jarrett is up there. They're actually performing it at the WWF event, and Jeff Jarrett is up there with them singing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't.
get you in the heart songs. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, definitely. So before we go to number one, we each got a couple of honorable mentions, and you kind of teased
Agree.
it earlier. You teased it a little earlier, but like, come on now. This is like everybody's little guilty pleasure. Like, of course, one of my honorable mentions is "Achy Breaky Heart" by Billy Ray Cyrus, 1992. Like, one of those other ones you couldn't escape. But it was just a fun song, and when you think of that name, Billy Ray Cyrus, is the first thing that pops in your head, which is why I didn't put it in the top 10. But it deserves some form of love, like because it was 90s country, and damn thing was everywhere, like literally. But wasn't I don't know. It just wouldn't take. Hey Matt, how are you? But yeah, I just didn't think it deserves the exact spot in the top 10. I'm not trying to say it don't deserve. I'm trying to figure out how to word it. But yeah, that's why we have the honorable mention category
Yeah.
for stuff like this.
And I almost put it on my list, but I felt putting Achy Breaky on my list would be a cop out.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
like I said, when you think of 90s country, songs like Achy Breaky Heart come to mind right off the get. Songs like Friends in Low Places come to your head
Mhm,
right off the gate. Songs like Boots Scootin' Boogie come to your
mhm,
head right out the gate. Reba McEntire, Fancy comes to your head right out the gate. So, and I wanted to try to get away from those. I wanted to try to go maybe not far left, but a little bit left from the center of the road, a little to the right,
mhm.
not right down the straight and narrow that everybody's going to be thinking about, which is why I went with the Billy Ray that I did. But I could have very easily put Achy Breaky at my number 10.
Mhm.
Justified at number 10, like, look, I'm getting it out of the way. Y'all shut the fuck up. It's a kick ass song. Like we said earlier, when we were in the spaces, Weird Al made a parody of it.
Mhm.
Weird Al is only going to parody songs that are hot and successful because he wants that to translate to his album sales.
Exactly.
You can make fun of the song all you want, but it does not stop the fact that during 1992, it was quite possibly the biggest country music song of the year.
Mhm.
Period.
Probably was the big country song of the year, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I forget what Garth had that year. Boot Scootin' Boogie was the year before.
Mhm.
So, yeah, let me see here. I'm gonna look up Garth Brooks real quick, see what he had that year that might have contested with it, because Friends in Low Places and stuff was like 1990, so he would have been on The Chase, I think. Yeah. So The Chase was We Shall Be Free, nowhere near as big. Great rally song, great unity song, but nowhere near as big as Achy Breaky Heart.
Mm-mm.
Sorry, Garth, you lose that one.
The few losses you can take.
So, but I'm glad we got to discuss Achy Breaky a little bit, because I feel about Achy Breaky for country the way I feel about Ice Ice Baby and You Can't Touch This for hip hop.
Mhm.
You can say whatever you want about those songs now. You can talk about how bullshit of a rapper Vanilla Ice was, untalented, just a gimmick. You can say the same thing for Hammer with his parachute pants and everything, but you cannot deny me the fact that those songs were quite possibly the biggest songs of their genre those that year it came out, 1990. Those songs were everywhere. Those songs are why songs have to get sample clearance now, because neither one of them cleared the samples, with Rick James' Super Freak for You Can't Touch This and Queen's Under Pressure for Vanilla Ice. Both artists had to go to court over it, and because of that, now artists have to worry about clearing their samples
Mhm.
because of how huge those songs were. If those songs weren't that huge, I don't think anybody would have given a shit.
That's
But
true.
those songs were everywhere.
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
So Rick James was like, I want my money, bitch. You're using my
Mhm.
bass line. I want to get paid off of this.
Yeah.
Same with Queen. You're making millions of dollars off this song. Pay me. If it had done just a couple 100,000 copies, I don't think they would have cared. Achy Breaky Heart
That's
kind of
true.
falls in the same thing, except for the sampling part. It was that inescapable song.
True. It's a guilty pleasure, definitely. It's the kind that, I mean, maybe you and I are the only ones that can admit, that have the guts to admit we like that. Everybody else wants to deny it. Yet when you walk out of the house, guess what they're listening to? They just won't say it in
Mhm.
front of everybody else.
Exactly. Get in the car, look around. Anybody listening? Turn the radio up.
Kind of like what Backstreet Boys is to certain people. They
Yeah.
don't want nobody. Yeah.
So, my first honorable mention is another slow jam, a little bit more depressing, especially when you listen to the context of the entire song. It's another song that follows a couple from them being kids to them being older. It's Love Me by Colin Ray from 1991.
Okay.
It's a story at the end of the day about a kid who finds some love letters that were written, and he's told the story through the person's eyes of going through the love. And, two kids that need to sneak out to go meet each other, but, they got their chores they got to take care of.
Mhm.
So one gets to the tree they're supposed to meet at, and there's a note there, and if you get there before I do, don't give up. I've got some shit I got to take care of, but I'll be there as soon as I can. Just don't give up on me.
Mhm.
And that theme runs through the entire song until finally one of them passes away.
Mhm.
And then it turns into, if you get to heaven before I do, don't give up on me. I'll be there eventually.
Mhm.
Just wait for me. Great song.
Yeah, one of those get you in the field songs.
Yep, like your wife called it there.
Mhm.
Or is it? There you go. Get you in the heart songs.
But this won't get anyone in the heart. But I mean, young typical female, head over heels in love. It's just one of those fun. It's one of those other songs that can kind of cross the line in the pop, but technically is
It
country, and
did.
yeah, it did cross the line. But obviously one of the big artists that you didn't want to put as part of your 10, which is kind of another way. I kind of understood where you were coming from, which is why I kind of put this one an honorable mention. But another one of those can't escape the song, and it's 98. It's this Kiss by Faith Hill. Like, I mean, immediately you hear the title, the chorus pops in your head. Like, forget the verses. Like, immediately the feeling of the chorus hits your head, and this kiss is the way. Everybody knows this freaking song. Like, people that don't even like the genre country know this song, which is why it crossed over to pop. So, yeah, so I felt I would be remiss if I didn't put this in somewhere. So I had to put it as an honorable mention.
Yeah, that's completely fair, and I understand why you saved it for an honorable mention there. Um, it's a great song. It's a catchy song. Without songs like this, there's no Taylor Swift now.
Hmm.
Without Faith Hill and Shania Twain, and even, Dolly Parton crossing
Hmm.
over from country into pop, there's no Taylor Swift today. And you can say that would be a good thing. You could say that would be a bad thing. It just kind of depends on your style of music. A lot of people want to hate Taylor, but she wouldn't be on the level she is if songs like this hadn't crossed over to the pop charts first.
Mm,
She wouldn't be able to be living her best life.
yeah,
So you can't really hate her for just following the people that opened the doors for her.
very true. I mean, somebody opened the door. You got no choice but to walk through it. We can't get mad for you to walk through the door that was open for
I mean, I would go as far as to say Taylor kicked the damn door off its hinges.
you.
You know, the door was starting to close back up, and she was like, "Nah, bitches." But but yeah, I mean, you don't get that today without this. So if you're a fan of Taylor and you've never heard this song, give it a listen.
hmm
So my second honorable mention is one that I really was debating about. Do I put it on my list proper or no? And it was probably about this close to making it at number 10. It's another breakup song, as country music songs tend to be. I think I've proven through my list that there's more than just breakup songs in country music, but this is definitely one of them.
hmm
Um, didn't really hear a whole lot from this band after the album that came out. This came out on, you know, happened because they just kind of disappeared. There were too many Brooks and Dunns, too many Alabamas, too many Diamond Rios and Little Texases for Black Hawk to really get a whole lot of rotation. And the song's called Goodbye Says It All. You know, it's kind of the flip side of Almost Goodbye, except they did pull the trigger and break up. You know, guy comes back, has a fight with his woman, and dips out, comes back, and finds the word goodbye written in lipstick on his wall. And she's just like, screw this, I'm done. You know, whereas Almost Goodbye, they both wanted to say it and they couldn't. She was like, fuck you, and wrote it in lipstick on the wall. I was like, I'm tagging this motherfucker's shit.
Right.
So that's
Tag
my
that
number
shit.
2.
My third honorable mention. A lot of people don't realize this song was started as a country song. It's mostly associated with R&B, which
These
also was
days,
in the 90's.
absolutely.
Yeah, and you come out and you hear All for One and you hear their version, but originally this is a country song. Go listen to the country. I get it. I'm an R&B guy. I get that people are gonna associate it with the R&B, but god damn it, it was a country song first, and the country song hits too, and it's just as good as. Obviously, it's the same song, just the instrumental is the beat is flipped around to sound more R&B ish. This is actually the original version of it, and it's I Swear by John Michael Montgomery, and yes, it's that Swear the the one from All for One, but the original country version. And because it's more associated with the R&B nowadays, like you have to really know country music to know this was country. That's why I didn't put it in the top 10. They put it as an honorable mention, but I Swear it's a banger. Like I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it as a country song first
Mm-hmm.
because when it came out, I was more prominently listening to country than I was hip hop and R&B.
Mm-hmm.
So whereas a lot of people were exposed to it, like you said, from All for One,
Uh-huh.
I knew the original version. I saw him do this live.
Okay.
So I've always had this ingrained in me as a country song. Honestly,
Mm.
I'm not a fan of the All for One version. I
Oh
feel like
wow.
they overdid it.
Oh,
It's
okay.
such a simple song, and some R&B singers can be a little bit extra when they sing.
Uh-huh.
Think about the way Wanye Morris gets sometimes, how he gets too carried away singing certain parts of songs.
Boyz II Men is my favorite group ever, but even I say, all right, it's too much.
So that's kind of the way I felt about All for One's version here. And this wasn't the first time it happened, or this wasn't the only time it happened. It was the first time. it happened again with I Can Love You Like That.
Yep.
Another originally John Michael Montgomery song that All for One did their version of. Me and Jeff did a top 10. God, it had to have been 3, maybe even 4 years ago now, around Valentine's Day, where we did the top 10 love songs of all time.
Mm-hmm.
This was my number one because of the fact that it went to number one by two completely different artists, two completely different genres.
Mm-hmm.
I almost went to this when we were talking about the How Do I Live, but I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to spoil anything because, like I said, both of those were country versions fighting for airplay on the same station.
Mm-hmm.
You had John Michael's country version dominating the country airwaves, and you had the All for One version dominating the pop and R&B airwaves. So they weren't clashing for airtime on the same type of radio station.
Mm-hmm.
That was different. Going back to the point I made earlier to try to tie things back
Mm.
around, but
It's just like,
that's why I ended up making this my number one, though, was because it went to number one on two different types of charts by two different type of artists. And I don't know if you've heard this version, but there is a version on YouTube. All five men got together 20 years later
yes.
and did a version together.
Mm-hmm. I've seen that
So
one.
John Michael is singing with All for One on that version.
Yep.
Highly recommended. If you're a fan of one version or the other, you can kind of hear both versions blended.
Yeah.
And you see all of them in the studio together. It's not like someone just did a mix.
Yeah, yeah, they're in the studio. Yeah, it's kind of like "I Will Always Love You." People associated with Whitney, and it's like it was Dolly's first. Like, uh, it's just depend on who, like, what you grew up listening to. You, it's no fault of your own. Like, see, she said, wifey said that I heard the All for One version first. That's not for your own. It's because you grew up with the R&B and the music. So of course you're gonna hear that. For it depends on the area you're from. I'm pretty sure some areas didn't even have the country version. You
Absolutely.
would only get the R&B version.
Yeah. I mean, I was lucky because I grew up in an area where country was a popular market, and of course we had the hip hop and R&B stations playing stuff. So both versions were popular where I was. I just had my preference, and my preference was the country version. So my last honorable mention is another one of those, it's those what if type of songs. Yeah,
Hmm.
I couldn't really think of another way to describe it because any other way you describe it is giving away the title of the song. It's What Might Have Been by Little Texas from 1993.
Okay.
And it's basically a song that talks about, two people that went their separate ways and have been if they had stayed together.
Hmm.
I don't know. Am I going crazy because I'm seeing my thing dip?
Yeah, you it's like Revo or something. Yeah.
Huh?
You're moving like kind of in slow motion, and then some of your words get.
Okay. How about now? Is it better?
Yeah. There you go.
Okay. So, again, sorry about that technical glitch there. Had a little bit of dip in my signal, but it just talks about two people that went their separate ways, and what could things have been like if they had stayed together? And I try not to think about what might have been because that was then, and we've taken different roads. We can't go back, and the video is what always sits with me on this one. Videos in the 90s were huge. And a lot of these had killer videos, but the video in particular for this one is always what sat with me because a father and a son basically go to visit the father's father in a nursing home, you know, being taken care of. And I hate when my shit does that, and it shouldn't be doing that. But they go to visit the grandfather essentially, and the grandson has found a picture of his granddad and a woman. And he shows him the picture, and the granddad starts reminiscing about the woman in the picture. And the song is kind of told through his eyes. And again, what if? What if things had been different? What if they had been together? Because that's not his grandmother. It's just, as far as he knows, that's some random woman. And then the video starts to end, and the dad and the grandson leave from the visit. And the grandpa is walking through the halls of this nursing home, and he sees somebody that looks vaguely familiar, and it ends up being the woman from the photo. They're now back in the same place. Times have changed again, and they kind of reconnect.
Hmm.
And the video ends with flashback footage of them dancing because it ends up that this was some girl that he had met during the war.
Okay.
So the video is just what always sticks with me about this one because it's a great finish to it and how they ended up coming back together in this nursing home, able to essentially live out the last years of their lives together, despite having taken separate paths, having completely different other lives with different husbands and wives and kids and grandkids. And now they've kind of found their way back to each other.
You losing service?
No, I finished talking, but you weren't
Uh,
saying anything. I thought there was a lag or something. And you were
oh,
waiting
oh,
for my words to catch up.
no, I was letting it. Yeah, but that's a good story. That's the thing about country music. That's the biggest thing. People say, "Oh, you get your wife back." The biggest thing about country is storytelling. If you're a great storyteller, you can write a country song. It doesn't necessarily have to be about losing everything. Just tell a great story and you got a hit. Like that's what it seriously is about.
Yeah, stories. That's what I always connect to. Are songs
Hmm.
with good stories.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I'm gonna go to my number one. Now you talked about breakup songs. You talked about the what if. No, this is a song where half and half, because basically the woman's had enough, and a man finally realizes the mistake he's made, and he better get convince his woman before he loses her for good. I mean, literally, the opening line is, "Baby, put down that suitcase you've been packing. Sit down, and talk to me for a while." I think that's the trying to remember off my head. It's my favorite song. I better know the goddamn lyrics. But
Right?
uh
And
like
honestly, it's the only one on your list I'm not familiar with.
oh man, go check it out. Like I love this song. Like he's literally has to stop her from leaving and convince her and said, "You're right. It's when a man actually has to admit you were right all along. Help me hold on to our love. I don't want to lose it, and I don't want you walking out that door. So sit down and talk to me. That's what this entire song is about. And it's Help Me Hold On by Travis Tritt. It's help me hold on to what we have. You were right all along, so help me hold on. That's the end of the chorus. And I'm not reading anything. I'm literally remembering it. That's how much I love this song. He's literally saying that. She's stopping her from packing the suitcase. So like you gotta hear this song. Like it's that half she's done. He's not, and we all been there as men. We know we make mistakes. We come to that point, and so you win some, you lose some. But you, when you know you got a good woman, you can't let her go out that door. You got to do something to stop her from leaving. And he wants to have that sit down and let her talk. Like it's a great song, and Travis Tritt is one of the best country artists there are. Like I could not go without putting him on this list.
Travis Tritt was my other honorable mention. If you had had four honorable mentions, he would have made the list for mine as well.
Oh, okay. For which song?
He anymore.
Oh, okay. Yep. Anymore. Yeah, yeah.
But I felt like it was so similar to what might have been that that's why I went with what might have been instead.
Okay.
But yeah, Travis Tritt is solid. He's a great artist. I love the stuff that he did with Marty Stewart. When
Hmm.
the two of them would come together, they had great chemistry. You know, the whiskey ain't working anymore. This one's going to hurt
Hmm.
you for a long time.
Hmm.
Even doing the sequel to The Devil Went Down to Georgia with another artist. There was
Hmm.
a song called The Devil Went Back to Georgia, and they had Travis Tritt, Marty Stewart, and Johnny Cash on the track. Johnny Cash was the narrator telling the story. Travis Tritt was Johnny, and Marty Stewart was the devil. Oh no,
Hmm.
flip it. Marty Stewart was Johnny, and Travis Tritt was the devil. But yeah, just they had such good chemistry. Travis Tritt is a solid choice there. Like I said, it's the only song, kind of like Watermelon Crawl for You. It's the only song I don't recognize, so I'm gonna have to listen to it, see if it's one of those that hearing it jogs my memory.
Hmm.
So good call though. Good call though. So my number one is the only song on here that's actually a cover song. It came out originally in the late 80s by an artist, and then I forget exactly what year, but that guy passed away. The original artist passed away. And it was recorded in 1995. It's the newest song on my list at 1995. Remember, that was
Hmm.
nothing else past 1995, so it's technically the newest song on my list. But the girl that did this song, that covered it, when I say the voice of an angel, I'm not fucking around.
Hmm.
Her voice is so pure and sweet that I could listen to her sing just about anything.
Hmm.
And it's Alison Krauss's cover of When You Say Nothing at All from 1995. And kind of like what we talked about for I Swear, there is a version out there that a DJ put together that meshes the two versions. Probably the first mashup I ever heard before mashups became a thing. Somebody took her version and the Keith Whitley original and spliced them together. And when his voice first comes in, it sounds so haunting and chilling because it sounds like he's talking from the other side.
Mm.
Because keep in mind, at this point, he's dead.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So it sounds like his ghost coming through the speakers. The first time I heard it, I got goosebumps
Oh wow.
the way his voice came through there. But this song, again, just the whole message about how you can say so much without saying anything because of a touch, a smile, a look that you give or receive says just as much as words.
Okay.
I mean, she says, the smile on your face lets me know that you need me. There's a truth in your eyes that says that you'll never leave me. A touch from your hand says you'll catch me if ever I fall.
Mm.
You say it best when you say nothing at all. Those three actions are louder than words.
Damn, that hits me. You and I just love some those hit you in the heart songs, man.
Hey, where's your wife's comment? Got to go back to it, you know? There's some of the best songs. I mean,
Mhm.
you end up relating and using those songs to express your feelings to your partner a lot of the time.
Mhm.
Get rid of this spam. Somebody's posting on your Twitch. I
Yeah.
can't get rid of it through here. You've got to go to your Twitch and get rid of it.
Yeah. I can't. They gotta do
I
robots,
hate
so
that shit.
they gotta
At least it's
monitor
not
that
the
somehow.
porn bots we used to get.
Yeah, and I can erase it, but it won't erase off StreamYard. See, I just erased it on. It's
That's
like
fine. As
weird.
long as you got rid of it
Yeah.
on your thing,
Yeah.
that's all that
Yeah.
matters.
Yeah. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's our list. Let us know what you think. Put in the comments, where did we go wrong? What did we get right? What did we miss in your opinion? Let us have it. Interact. The more you interact with these videos, the better it is for us and the more we can do. Cuz I'm like really digging. I know the
Yeah,
top 10
absolutely.
is the thing. Yeah.
Keep going, Walter. You were doing good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like when you interact, it gives us ideas. Let us know what else you would like to hear. What other kind of top tens you want us to make, and what two you want together. Me and JJ got our thing with movies and music, but me and Noah can do top 10 video games. Me and James can do top 10 this. And me and Jeff can do top. Like you can get any combination you want, anything you guys like of the top tens. It was a series I wanted to come up with, especially since the dads thing has been a hiatus. Like it's a new way to get the dads not always on wrestling back. So I mean, if you guys like, please let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm down to do almost any non-wrestling topic. Some things might be harder for me than others. I could probably do top 10 video games.
Hmm.
They'd all be older video games, but I could probably jump in on something as that as well. But I mean, those of you guys that watch this on demand, first of all, the people that are watching it right now, make sure you like this video.
Hmm.
It'll help get it some traction in the algorithm. Share it on your social media pages. The people that watch it on demand, like it, and make sure you comment on it. That'll also help boost things up in the algorithm. Um, and keep in mind when you watch this back that I went a completely different route on purpose. I could have very easily, and I told Walter this, but I very easily could have done a top 10 George Strait from the 90s, a top 10 Reba from the 90s, a
Hmm.
top 10 Alan Jackson from the 90s, a top 10 Shania from the 90s, a top 10 Garth from the 90s, a top probably 5 Faith Hill from the 90s. Doing a top 10 would have been a stretch for her because she came like mid decade.
Hmm.
But I could have done top 10s easily for all these artists. And so that's why I went the way I did with it, because I wanted to try to find artists that weren't that easy,
Hmm.
that I still love, that people don't talk about as much. So I'm asking you guys humbly to not put, I can't believe you didn't have this song or this song on your list, because I did this on purpose.
He set a challenge for himself.
Yeah, I wanted to make it difficult on purpose. Walter, no disrespect, brother, I knew was going to do a bunch of the more popular commercial shit. That's That's what there was in the 90s. I could have had every song that he had on his list on mine. Hell, we did share a song.
Yep.
We only had one song on each of our lists that the other one didn't really know.
Mhm.
That shows how commercial the stuff that we did use was. And I still stayed away from those artists.
Mhm.
So don't give me hate mail about the people that I didn't use or the songs that I left off. Just put what your list would be.
Exactly.
We'll go back to it. We'll comment on it.
Mhm.
We'll let you know if that's a good song or something we didn't think about. We like the interactivity, the engagement.
Mhm.
Just be polite about it. That's
Exactly.
my humble request for y'all.
Exactly. We don't know what Foster's gonna end up commenting on it, because he's gonna be like, "Oh yeah."
Absolutely. And I look forward to it. And I look forward to seeing what my mom thinks when she sees it,
Mhm.
watches it. My dad usually jumps in when we do these type of things, but like I said, he's not a country music fan. So
Mhm.
he's probably not going to watch this one. He could care less. But my mom, on the other hand, almost never watches my shit because she's
Mhm.
not big on wrestling.
Okay.
So that's why I made sure I sent her this because I thought it was something she might actually get a kick out of and be able to comment on.
Nice.
And then, of course, this all has been one huge commercial for the fact that this Saturday we have our karaoke night and we're going to be doing 90s music as part of the karaoke. All genres are going to be open. You see there on the graphic Mariah Carey, Tupac, Alanis Morissette, Garth Brooks, Selena, Kurt Cobain, Shania Twain, and so much more. I've told people the only artist that I am banning from 90s karaoke is Weird Al. And
Mhm.
that's because in October, we're doing a Weird Al karaoke in honor of his birthday. I don't want us to beat his songs out now and then we have less that we can do then.
Exactly. I mean, all those are artists that Josh didn't even know who they were, which is unfreaking believable. Like, it's still you. Josh substituted because we were doing UFC Saturday. You showed him that he didn't know any of the artists. That is crazy. Youth to be young again.
Yeah, right? To be that young again that you're oblivious to those people. Like, what the hell? I tried to use people that still like are talked about, and he had no idea who Alanis Morissette was. He had no idea who Selena was. He didn't know who Kurt Cobain was. He didn't recognize Mariah Carey, which, to be fair, that's like 1990 Mariah Carey. She's 35 years older and a hell of a lot crazier than she was in that picture. But, still,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she never saw a surgeon before, during that picture. So, but anyways, that's our top 10. We hope you enjoy.
definitely. Look forward to getting responses. Look forward to getting feedback. Let us, like Walter said, let us know what else you want us to do top tens on, and we'll figure out the best team to do it for you.
Exactly. But until then, we will bid you adieu because it is dynamite time. Uh, So thanks for watching, and guys, we all love this. So stay tuned for more, and please subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Get me to that 200. For those that might have watched this for the first time, like your mom maybe, my wife literally said I get to go to New Orleans next year for an entire month to get out of her hair and go to WrestleMania. And not only that, I get to take someone from the Simply Reliable Studios with me, and I'm dang sure gonna hold her to it. So please get me to 200 so I can say, hey, remember what you said? And she even took my headset and said it live. If you go back on one of our
She did.
watch-alongs, so
She did.
yeah. So until next time, guys, stay safe.